We spend the better part of our 20s running. We're either running towards fun and pleasure or running towards money and status, perhaps a mix of both. And everything's great. It's all good, stressful, but overall a good time. But then you get close to your 30s and you begin to feel a change that you just cannot ignore. A pressure you can't explain, a shadow you just cannot shake off. And then all of a sudden, things that you cared about, that you thought you wanted, you don't want anymore. And things are beginning to feel meaningless. It feels like life is just starting to close in on you. But in reality, it's actually trying to open up. And if you just lean into this, you're going to come out on the other end as if you just woke up for the very first time. Now, why is this happening? And it's important to know because it gives us some more context and the ability to see the bigger picture. We are born whole just through naivety. We don't know much about the world and what it entails and what it comprises, the good and evil. And so everything is wonderful and it's exciting and you're not yet fragmented, which is what happens over time. As we age, we gain more knowledge of ourselves and the world. We start to form beliefs, opinions, hierarchies of value, and of course, influenced by what you were brought up in and who was around you and how you took on all those exciting times, traumatic times, and formulated a bit of a personality. Once you get close to 25 and after 25, there begins to be the call for integration, where all of a sudden, you're beginning to feel this sensation, this overwhelming force that's saying, we need to consolidate. We need to address everything that we've been slipping under the rug, the parts of ourselves we've hated and denied and rejected. And unless we engage in this transition, because you can look at it that way, it is a transition, an evolution. With faith, you will assume that your passion for life is gone. I cannot tell you how many comments I read where I'm seeing, honestly, just men who have just given up. And perhaps they've been in this period of time for too long. And it can be very hopeless. And there's no shame in any of this. And when I read it, I really honestly just don't take it personal. I really don't. I can see the frustration, and I know some of what I say can get people very angry. But it doesn't change the fact that faith during this portion of time is going to be absolutely the most important thing to maintain. You have to believe that it will get better. If you don't, then that's it. What we choose to focus on is what will multiply, and what your brain, your mind will seek evidence to prove. Now, why is this happening now? Whether that be in our early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, which weren't ready yet. And we need to explore and live to the best of our abilities at the time. When we're in our early 20s, we're existing. We don't really know. We're trying to manage our life. We're trying to make friends, find a girlfriend or whatever, and just live, exist. And that's okay, because it's all part of your grand journey of life. So try your best not to focus on it. Don't be so upset about it, because you arrived just in time. And how do I know that? Well, because you did. That's a very simple answer. But you just did. If you're coming to that awakening now or a year ago, then that's just when it was supposed to happen. But it is now the choice whether or not you embark on that new journey, on this journey of inner awakening, because you honestly can absolutely choose to reject it. And that is something very important I want to pass on to you. At the end of it all comes down to, what is it that you want to do? When I was in my early 20s, I wanted to be a world champion in jiu-jitsu. And if you're a regular to the channel, you know this story. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to dominate everybody. I wanted to be unbeatable, to be respected and admired by everyone around me. I wanted to be seen as special. And for a long time, that was motivating me, that drive to achieve that result. But medal after medal, acknowledgement after acknowledgement, I started to ask myself a couple questions. And after I asked myself those questions, something began to happen. I stopped caring about it. Everything that I was working for, training every day, dieting, not going to parties, not staying up late with friends, and just routinely training day in and day out. And after all those years, just don't want it anymore. And instead of me feeling a sense of, I guess, relief that the pressure is gone and I don't need to pursue this big goal anymore, but instead it was just absolutely plunging me into despair. And after sitting with my soul long enough, I came out realizing that I had a core wound that needed healing. But instead of addressing it directly, I just sought to bandage it with success. And so by knowing your core desires and which ones were transgressed is what's going to allow you to understand what is going on right now, and then to also allow you a path to move forward. And those three core desires are, I matter, I am seen, and I have agency. Until we deal with that, nothing on the external will actually ever bandage anything. You can have $1 trillion and you are still, if you were chasing it because of a wound, you will always have that void. It'll never go away. And I go much more into detail with all of this inside of my free community. Down below, if you click that link, read the information about it, because if you sign up to the waitlist, you're going to get early access before July 11th. This way you can communicate with like-minded men on the same path towards inner healing, shadow work, and integration. And then also have access to my complete sovereign integration system modules. It is all for free. And the reason why is because those are in there. I offer one-on-one mentorships or inner circle group sessions for those that actually want to fast track their progress and have me implement the system to you specifically and your specific challenges. So click that link down below if it's resonating, if it's what you need, sign up to the waitlist. So we need to dive in and ask ourselves the hard questions. And the answer you get is going to be treated like a trail of breadcrumbs that you continuously follow downward into the depths. But before you do this, what's really important, we have to set a pre-frame before we enter in. Because if you just dive in to your psyche without any groundedness, any sort of way to pull yourself back out, you risk launching yourself into heavy states of rumination and just completely losing the plot. And then going into self-judgment, criticism, hatred, bitterness. And we don't want to make it worse. We actually want to dive in there and discover what it is that we truly need objectively. And the way we're going to do that is through my sovereign pillars. Now, here are 2 of the 5. First one is curiosity, investigating with a distance. And the best way I can describe this, when you're sitting down and you're watching TV, and let's say you're watching a scary movie. I hate scary movies. I don't get it. I don't like the feeling of being startled every 2 seconds. But even if I were to watch it, I can look at the screen, it can startle me, but I know it's not actually happening. I'm not really inside of that movie and have to worry about any demonic figure popping up around me. What ends up happening with our inner world is we fuse with it too much. And so whenever we think about our past, we think about our memories, we bring them into the now, we make it feel like it's happening and we're in it. And we're not actually able to look and observe and understand what it is we need and what we've been thinking all these years that aren't true. Adventure, the antidote to the slow death of a predictable life. Quite simply, I put it as, it is a thrilling adventure to understand more about yourself and who it is that sits in between all your thoughts, your worries, your emotions. Who is sitting in the middle? Who's sitting at that center observing all of this? Now we can begin to ask those questions. And I want to give you the list of questions that I recommend you go through, which will really help get this ball moving. Let's begin with question number 1, and I'm going to answer this as if I'm doing it for myself so that you can see how it works. What have I been chasing? Well, at that time, I was chasing medals, and I was chasing admiration, acknowledgement, praise from other people. What was I trying to prove? Well, what I was trying to prove was that I wasn't a loser. I was trying to prove that I have something to offer. I'm worth having around. And that I also wanted to be accepted somewhere. I don't want to be rejected. I was bullied a lot growing up. I became the bully at some point, and that's what's really interesting about our past. We're not the innocent things that we say we are. We are innocent, but we are also cruel. So we have a mix of both. So I'm able to see both of that as I reflect on it. But really what I was trying to prove was I just wanted to matter. I wanted to know I was worth something. Why do I believe I don't matter? When you start to get to the core, you will eventually start to see how they all overlap. Because I felt I didn't matter, I wasn't fully seen for who I am, which is a mix of both. See, a common complaint I hear is some of this message is a be yourself message. It's not a be yourself message. The message is about seeing what you are today and seeing what you need to improve on. Not because there's something inherently wrong with you, because there's something wrong with everybody. And there's also something good about everybody. It is a mix of both. And it's trying to understand what's the constellation of your inner world? What does it look like? When are you vindictive? When are you kind and charitable? And seeing exactly how that works, building a wide breadth of awareness about yourself. But when you realize that you don't matter, I'm also feeling like I'm not seen. So I have to create this performer, this persona, this mimic of what people would accept, which then I really don't have agency because I'm now having to act outside of what I want, of what I want to become. And so always there's a center, a core wound that then kind of all lump together, but you have to find the source. And what you're going to find if you dig down long enough and get to the bottom, as far as you can tell, because typically along the way down, your ego will relentlessly fight you to not look at it. And it's going to give you every possible reason as to why you shouldn't. If you keep drilling down, what you're going to find is just a boy who first wanted to be fill in the blank for you. For me, it was a boy who just wanted to know he mattered. When we were young, growing up, what we give to our children, or what we probably should give to our children, is complete, unconditional acceptance of who they are, being accepting of what they are revealing to us in their temper tantrums, in their frustrating behaviors, wanting bread with honey 1 second, then changing their mind 2 seconds later after you've already made it and put it in front of them. That's my daughter, by the way. Wanting to go outside, not wanting to go outside, saying they want to hang out with you, not wanting to hang out with you, all these irrational behaviors, all these things that children go through as we grow up. And oftentimes, just again, we don't want to blame anybody. Blaming is not a helpful thing because it takes responsibility out of yourself. You are giving away agency. So if we accept it for what it is, and our parents tried their best, and if there are some parents that did terrible, and that's not okay, but that's also not your fault. And so once we can start to see that, we can actually begin to see how everything has been growing from that wound, how much we've multiplied, what the things we have chosen to focus on, not focus on. Some of these are very unconscious as well. And so we need to enter in and heal that wound by providing ourselves the unconditional acceptance of who we are, being able to see ourselves for who we are, revealing everything. Reveal yourself. It's not be yourself, reveal yourself to yourself, everything. Of course, we always want to orient towards the good. We always want to orient towards growth, which is our innate design. See, oftentimes in the masculine, we have this fear just based upon our, culture that we've been pumped in social media and movies and TV shows, that if we go into this place, then we're going to sulk. And it's also kind of like a puss move. It's cowardly. And we should always have this big armor, this exterior. And that if we do dive in, then that's it. It's over. We're just now going to be in this husk state. But that is not true at all. Do you need to tell a child, a boy, when they're growing up, to go and explore? Do you need to tell them that? You don't need to. They just do. Do you need to tell them that if they fall to get back up? No, they fall and they just get back up. We just do these things. It is God's spark, God's creative power put into us. The universes, the sources, I use these names just so we can understand each other. Go with nameless, this nameless being that we are intertwined with, guys. We're in relationship with. So we don't need to force it. We just need to get out of its way. We get in, we reveal, we stay in that, and believe me, I'll tell you, on the other side, you will begin to want to build. You will be creative. You want to be charitable. It is our default mode. You can use it for destruction, or you can use it for prosperity. That is, again, ultimately your choice. And I would hope that you choose prosperity. And so when you finally stop being afraid of what's in the dark, what you will see once you're inside is where you were all along. Thank you. And I'll see you on the next video.